Hello everybody and welcome once again to Inside the Headset. I'm here with head coach Thomas McDaniel with the Oakland Patriots. Coach McDaniel, today you scrimmage the Antioch Bears. I think that's what they are,
That's
Antioch
right.
Bears, to finish out your spring roundup and just your exercise and your physical workouts of the last 10 days. Talk to us a little bit about today and just the last 9 days and what you've been through.
Okay. We've had 2 good weeks. It's kind of been an awkward and unusual spring for us, just not as much continuity as I'd like in spring practice from the standpoint that, we've got more baseball kids than normal and we've got several kids in track. So not as consistent with our personnel and that, is to be expected sometimes in spring practice. But we've been maybe a little spoiled the last couple of years about having most of our kids involved the whole spring, and sometimes we kind of rush and get a little antsy. This year we've had to pull the reins back and work a little bit more simplistic minded on what we're doing, and I think that's helped us probably because we are a young football team right now. I think expectations are fairly high, but we've got a lot of youth and inexperience, so we've got to get caught up pretty quick. So we've had 10 good days. We're going to have a spring inter-squad scrimmage on Tuesday night, but I thought last Friday against Beach, we took some great strides for only having 4 days of preparation. I think first and foremost for us defensively, with the amount of players that we lost from last year's team, and then just the inconsistency we had last year on defense. One of our main focuses going into the spring was finding better athletes, especially on the defensive front. I feel like at this point we've definitely done that. And then, secondly is just finding 11 guys that can run. And I really felt good after the Beach scrimmage about the fact that our defensive front has gotten more athletic. I feel really good about the fact that our personnel on defense is a lot more athletic and based on speed, which I think in our league you've got to have. And so from the defensive standpoint, last Friday I felt like we took a great step. Offensively, it was about what I expected, a little inconsistent at times. I think the offensive line is probably the strength of our team. But going against Beach, they had some good defensive linemen, a 50 front, something we haven't blocked much in the spring just because we're just trying to get our basic assignments in, and we blocked a split defensive for basically 4 days. So we had some assignment issues last Friday, and that caused some problems. But and then again, doing 10-play scrimmages, you can't really get in sync because our offense is based on moving the chains and down and distance. Inconsistency was kind of one of the main factors in the scrimmage last Friday. This week, we've had to deal with a ton of injuries. It's just been an unfortunate spring. We've had just some unlucky things happen to us, and so it's been inconsistent personnel in certain situations of practice. But tonight we were able to get a little better on defense, I thought, especially handling their triple option scheme they do. That's a hard that's a hard offense to defend. And then offensively, I thought we were much crisper. But again, blocking a 4-man front, that's what we've been doing for 9 days. So we were a little more fluid, I guess, and consistent on the offensive side of the ball. So all in all, at this point, I'm pretty satisfied. We got a long way to go because of our youth.
Talk a little bit about, a lot of people may not understand, but you've had an opportunity to maybe look at some 3s and some 4s, and people may not understand, what I'm talking about, but you've had maybe you've got a 2 out, so I've got a 3 that now moves into the 2, the 4 now moves into the 3, the 5 moves into the 4. You're getting a little bit of a different look. But what does that give you as a coach later on down during the season if you do end up, just like you said, you've had some injuries this week. Mm-hmm. So you have some injuries. I've got some kids. They may be a 4, they may be a 3 this week, may have to go back to a 4 because the 2, you understand where I'm going with this, and kind of explain that to some of the parents and just the fans and how you go about that.
Well, I know for us, just speaking as far as our staff's concerned, we feel like it's a fairly thin line you have to walk. You've seen football in our league long enough. Yes, you know that it's kind of a war of attrition every week. You're gonna have to overcome some injuries, and with the physicality of the play in our league and the athleticism, you have to develop depth. If you don't, it's going to end up hurting you down the road. And so, we don't really approach spring with the idea that we're going to have too many starters. Obviously, you can say that, and there's certain kids that are penciled in that are going to be your starters, but we try to really work a two-deep rotation on both sides of the ball with the understanding that everybody has a chance to compete to play. And so, I think even though we've had those injuries, we've had people move up and have done very well when they've been called on, and that's going to happen during the season. I mean, you're going to have somebody at every given point of the season that's going to, something's going to happen that you're not prepared for. Somebody else is going to have to rise to the occasion. And so this time of year, definitely, you get to work on that. Again, our goal, and everybody's mindset's different, but for us, we take the philosophy that when you have 100 kids, we're going to try to work 100 kids in practice. I think that can be, I kind of get pulled, I guess, internally on my thought process, because I sometimes feel like maybe we work too many people and we get diminishing returns with some of our older kids. We've had several discussions in our staff meetings about the fact that our JV team the last couple of years competed very well against everybody we played, and I don't think we've lost but one JV game in 2 years. Well, that's because we work a lot of kids. But at the same time, are you focusing enough on your main people during the season, getting better week to week? And there's been times the last 2 years that I don't know that we've gotten better at the end of the season when we needed to, and I think maybe some of that's attributed to the fact that we're sometimes working too many people. So this time of year, obviously, it's not that important, because my approach in spring is to try to be physical. We've been physical. We've actually banged our kids up maybe to an extreme because of some of the injuries we've had. But again, you get to work on depth. You get to evaluate some younger guys that maybe you're not aware of. And I think that there's a big learning curve from the time they leave freshman football and enter JV or varsity football going into their sophomore season. I mean, I can tell you just off the top of my head, 3 or 4 freshmen that really weren't even contributors on the freshman team that have opened our eyes, that have developed tremendously just this one off season. So there's guys at freshman level that maybe weren't that talented, that all of a sudden you look at them and say, man, this guy is going to develop into a player. So, and same thing with a junior or a senior, that you're going to have guys step up. But again, in our league, you got to have depth, and if you don't, it's going to come back and bite you, because it's just too physical of a league, and it's too competitive. And if you don't have that, then you're probably not going to be able to finish the season the way you want to.
2008, you won the state championship, went 14-1. A lot of coaching philosophies, as you've just already brought out, have changed since you won that state championship. And I guess you're talking about how you've had a lot more meetings and maybe some different philosophies as you've gone through it. What's different, and what's different right now coaching a kid, just as far as you didn't have social media? No. When you won it in 2008, there wasn't no Twitter, there wasn't no Facebook, and now, I mean, you got 100 kids, they all got an account, they all got a cell phone. It's a different world. Talk to us a little bit.
I'm just now kind of learning that. I think my kids would tell you, and there's a lot of people that are close to our program will tell you, is I pretty much speak off the cuff. I don't really hold anything back. And sometimes I'm learning as I'm getting a little older, and maybe I hope I'm maturing, that I need to learn to keep my mouth shut sometimes. I'm just, the Twitter and the YouTube and all that stuff, there's just so much out there, and I've got to do a better job with our kids, and it's tough, but you got to understand that some things stay in-house, and, there's certain things that happen within the team that needs to stay just with the team. And
it's a fraternity. You got to have a fraternity. You got to have a sacred bond.
And there's got to be a trust factor there, and that's something that we've got to continue to work on. But as far as, I'd say just overall, as far as 2008, it's funny that, yes, we've talked about that several times. I try not to bring it up to our players. But, honestly, my thought is I've got so much respect for the group of kids that we had in 2008, especially our seniors, who really rallied around a new coaching staff, and I more than anything just trusted that we had an idea in mind that we thought would work if they would just buy in. But at the same time, with the respect I have for them, I'm tired of talking about 2008. It's just, we had a good year in 2009. We came up about 7 yards short in the quarterfinals against Riverdale. 2010 was a very humbling experience for our football program. And in 2011, to be honest with you, I was proud of our football team in 2011. Obviously, it's not
like you grew a lot.
It's not the standard that we wanted in Oakland, but we had a great group of seniors. I never felt like our seniors laid down on us. Mm-hmm. We had some games where they could have laid down, and the fact of the matter is, the talent level wasn't where we had it at times in certain positions. and yet our kids continue to play hard, practice hard every day. So as a coach, I took a lot of satisfaction out of the 2011 season and learned a lot of things. And this year, right now, my main focus with this team that really we haven't talked about too much because we've been involved in spring practice. But my biggest, I guess, fear or concern in the 2012 team is I think, we've got a great mix of youth and experience coming back, but we do have enough inexperience that it is going to be vital that we have a great summer. And, some of these guys develop quickly. We've got some talented players. I think we've got a great looking squad, but again, a lot of sophomores and a lot of juniors. And so that inexperience is going to be important that we get them moving along quickly. And I'd say out of all of that, and I think most of the coaches in our league would say the same thing, as cliche as it may sound, I don't know how tough we are right now. I think that there's a physical and mental toughness that we've got to break a barrier on, so to speak. And, our sophomore class had a very successful freshman season. This freshman group coming up that's going to be sophomores had a great freshman season, and there's a little bit of hoopla involved, especially around our Oakland community about the expectations for the 2012 team. We're not going to shy away from that, but the fact remains that when you get in District 7 AAA, all that stuff really doesn't mean anything. I think you just look at the history of our league, and anybody can beat anybody on any given night. And I think usually it comes down to toughness and perseverance and trust. And we've got to do a better job of toughening our kids up and getting them all to trust in our plan and not doubting that and doing what's best for the team. And sometimes all the chemistry comes together, sometimes it doesn't. And, we just got to continue to work at it, and hopefully we can put the best product we can on the field.
Well, I tell you one thing you speak of, and I've been a part of a couple of rides and been able to go to a couple of state championships and win them. But I tell you what you're talking about is dead set true. You have the mental toughness toward the end that when it comes down to the last chips, that's when you find out what kind of team you are. Really.
You do, and I think especially in Rutherford County, and I've said this on several different occasions, I think our county in general is spoiled. I think fans are spoiled, administrations are spoiled, schools are spoiled because everybody expects, whether it's Riverdale, whether it's Smyrna, whether it's Oakland, Blackman, Siegel. I mean, everybody's got a chance to make deep runs now. I think everybody's talented, and the fact remains that it's just hard. I think people think in Rutherford County that it's just going to happen, and really you have to have a lot of things go your way, and there's just so many intangibles that go into making a deep run in the playoffs. And you can be a great football team. Case in point, Riverdale last year had a great football team, and one player, one injury, and then I think that was really one of the main differences for them. So you got to have a lot of luck and a lot of things go the right way, and it's a shame in a sense because you can have a great season and come up short, and then you feel like you failed. And I think sometimes we got to take a step back and look at a bigger picture and understand that we're trying to develop our youth. And I think football plays such a vital role with some of these kids nowadays, and it's just it's becoming more and more prevalent that it's tough. Kids don't like things that are hard because they're not used to doing things that are hard, and with the way everything is, especially now on ESPN and Bounty Gate and concussions, and football's getting a bad rap.
Yeah,
and so I think it's only going to become more of an issue that you got to find great character kids that are willing to pay a price, and then you got to have a lot of luck if you're going to make a run at it.
Well, anything else you'd like to add? I'd love to come back out and visit with you as you move and get closer, get into the summer, and we get into two-a-days. I'll come back out and hook up with you, and I'd also like to come out and catch a couple of games and get them on film and see you this fall.
Sounds good. We'd love to have you.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up, and so we'll see you this fall. And I was able to catch up with Coach McDaniel, and thank you for joining us.